I want to ask you, why are you so loyal to the Blazers? Probably one of the top 2 point guards in the game. You have an opportunity to go and explore opportunities with other teams, play in bigger markets. Why so much loyalty with the Blazers?
So, one of the things that's been emphasized within the NBA community, the NBA realm, over the last half decade really, is player mobility. This idea that players have the opportunity and the freedom to choose where they want to go to. While free agency has been around for a long time, this idea was really emphasized by LeBron James in 2010 when he took his talents to South Beach. The difference was the 2008 Celtics were formed through trades primarily. However, the 2010-2011 Miami Heat was formed through free agency, which was really a reason why people gave LeBron a lot of flack back then, because this wasn't something that was out of his control. He purposely chose to stack the deck in his favor. But I'm not really here to, criticize LeBron James. All I'm saying is that move has inspired this whole movement of player mobility. You have the right to go wherever you want to because these teams can trade you whenever they want to. So why can't players do that for themselves? Why leave the fate of your legacy, of your career to these teams when you can do it yourself? And I've already given LeBron as an example. LeBron James was a player drafted in 2003 to a poor franchise.
The Cleveland Cavaliers select LeBron James,
who didn't really do anything, or at least failed to do anything to give LeBron James a true championship squad. Up until 2007, Kevin Garnett had to carry the Timberwolves on the back of his shoulders. He had a decent squad in 2004, but it took the best of Kevin Garnett, which is one of the best seasons of all time, to just lose in the Western Conference Finals. Another example is Allen Iverson. Long story short, there are a lot of examples throughout NBA history of great players being stuck on bad franchises, and this whole movement of player mobility, its whole goal is just to emphasize that, you don't have to be stuck on this team. You can control your career. It's understandable. As fans, we hate to see these really great players, these really great talents, waste their prime, the best years of their careers on bad teams, not really competing for anything. It's understandable. And recently, the poster child of this movement has been one Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard of the Portland Trail Blazers. Damian Lillard was the 6th overall pick of the 2012 NBA draft. His first couple years in the league, he proved he can be a high-quality starting point guard, and he was really good straight out the gate. But ever since 2016, really, Damian Lillard has flat out been an elite point guard. We're talking about a 25 point per game scorer every single year. He established himself as an elite shooter. He has made the Blazers a perennial playoff team and has become one of the most exciting players in the league. But there has never been a year where Dame and the Portland Trail Blazers were truly championship contenders. They were never really in championship conversations. He's been on teams where making it, just making it, to the Western Conference Finals was a massive overachievement. And the free Damian Lillard movement has been really gaining traction the last 2 years for a couple of reasons. Number one, Dame has gotten better since 2016. He's closer to a 30 point per game scorer now. He's improved his passing ability, all while being more efficient. Number two, Damian Lillard is 31, which means he'll only have so much more prime years left in his career. People don't want to see a player, a talent like Damian Lillard, playing the latter half of his career, really competing for nothing. And number three, during the last 2 years, the Blazers haven't been contending for titles during all of this. Like, they've been good playoff teams. Like, you don't want to see the Portland Trail Blazers in the playoffs, but they haven't truly been title contenders. There is a legitimate cap to the potential of these teams. And after the playoffs last year, where Damian Lillard averaged 34 points, 10 assists, 4 rebounds on 66% true shooting percentage, only committing 2 turnovers a game, including a 55-point and 10 assist performance where he had a 97% true shooting percentage and lost. Bro, let me side tangent real quick. Bro dropped 55 points, 10 assists, only 2 turnovers, had a 97% true shooting percentage. I don't even want to give you all the splits because it's too much. 97% true shooting percentage and lost. All of that combined has made the free Damian Lillard movement be even more prevalent as of late. And it's caused Dame to essentially, anytime he's being interviewed, to be asked about his future with the Portland Trail Blazers. Is he going to stay? Does he want to demand a trade? What's going on? Because especially in this era, again, where player mobility is emphasized, where we've seen a player like Anthony Davis request a trade, a player like Jimmy Butler, a player like Paul George, ask for trades when they know they're on a team that's not going to be competing for a championship, and they know that they are a talent worthy of better. We're used to those players requesting for trades, and Damian Lillard looks to be in that perfect fit of being that next player that's going to request a trade. Yet despite all of these notions, despite what everyone thinks they know, Damian Lillard, almost every single interview, almost every step of the way, has denied these rumors. He has stayed down, stayed put on the stance that he wants to stay in Portland and he's not going to request a trade anytime soon. Despite the Blazers proving in his career so far that they can't build a championship team around him, and honestly looking at the future projections of this team, that notion isn't a notion that's going to change anytime soon, it seems like. So I know you guys see the title of this video. The question I want to answer is why? Why does Damian Lillard want to stay so bad? Well, the reality is some of these players just don't care about their legacies, or just legacies in general, as much as we do. Look, me and you, especially if you're watching this video, me and you, we love to talk about legacies. Top 50 all time, top 50 in the game right now. We love to have these conversations because these are just fun conversations to have. These are just fun conversations to have. But these debates do get heated, and to a certain degree, NBA players do care about them. Certain players care about them more than others, but there are a certain few. I might go as far as to say there's not even a certain few. There's just a decent amount of NBA players that just don't care about NBA legacies like we do. There are players who believe that rings and accolades shouldn't determine how good they are all time because those are team accomplishments. They should just look at the individual game and their game should speak for themselves, and they don't really care what you think. The real are gonna know what's up. There are NBA players that think like that, and there are also NBA players that just straight up don't care about legacies. Like, they either don't care what you have to say about their legacy, or they don't care about legacies whatsoever, because what's an NBA legacy when it's really all said and done? You know what I'm saying? There's a possibility that Damian Lillard is one of those players. Maybe he doesn't care about what you think about him in the top 50 all time, or if he's in there. Maybe he's that type of player that, bro, you know how good I am, and I don't need to be on a different team for you to know how good I am. Maybe he's on that type of timing. Another reason why Dame wants to stay in Portland is maybe he's just happy in Portland. You know, maybe he's fine being there. Like, he doesn't really care about moving to a different team, different state. Like, he's happy in Portland.
My family moved here, and it's a good living. We like living here. And it's not like, I'm playing for a bad organization. It's been a great organization to play for.
Look, being an NBA player is a job. It's a career at the end of the day. And I think it's very important for us as fans to realize and just acknowledge way more that these players are human, like, with emotions and families and real life relationships. Like, these are real people we're talking about. What if Dame just likes Portland? He likes living in Portland. He has strong relationships in Portland. That's where his family, is based. I'm not sure if that's actually true. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what if that's where his family's just used to being? What's wrong with Dame wanting to stay in that city? Especially since this is a city that's shown Dame nothing but love since day one and has continued to do that throughout the course of his career. And on top of all of that, for the next 3-4 years, I believe they're paying you anywhere from $40 to $50 million a year, which, side note, Jesus Christ, that is a lot of money. $40 to $50 million a year before your personal endorsements with Adidas and anything else. Like, bro, who cares? Who cares if I go to this other team and I move up from like 55 to 41 on your completely subjective, no one at the end of the day really cares about top 50 all-time lists. Like, who cares, bro? I'm just saying, some players might think that way. Like, they have different priorities than us. And just to go off topic a little bit, I believe last week Kevin Love came out and said that he's not interested in a buyout with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think Kevin Love, not to the degree Dame is, but Kevin Love is also in a situation where he's a player that can contribute to a championship contending team, but he's on a trash team. So a lot of players are looking for Kevin Love to request for a buyout so he can go and contend for a championship. And Kevin Love, going against that grain, against this notion, said no, he's not interested in a buyout, and it has a lot of people Wondering, why does Kevin Love want to stay in Cleveland? Cleveland. Why does Kevin Love want to stay on a bad team? Why not get a buyout, still get all that money and just go to a different team, have more fun, be in a better city, and compete for something? And I tweeted this out. Really, what does winning a championship as a third or fourth option do for Kevin Love's legacy? Like, yes, it's gonna improve it. I'm not saying it's not gonna improve it, but what is he gonna move like all time if he's, you know, leaving this town, this city that he's comfortable and happy like staying and living in? What is a championship gonna do for his legacy? Moving from like what, 75 to 49? Like what does that mean? What does that really mean? Does that matter? Does that matter? But also, coming off a season where Giannis won a championship for the Milwaukee Bucks, I do think that gave Dame a little bit more of a reason to stay in Portland than to not. You know, the last 2 years, we've seen Anthony Davis request a trade from the Pelicans and go to the Lakers. We've seen the super team in Brooklyn form. We've seen Chris Paul go to the Phoenix Suns. We've seen Kawhi and PG team up with the Clippers. And I know there's caveats. I know there's injuries. Yeah, on your screen, you see Giannis just grind it out with the Milwaukee Bucks, the team that drafted him, and win a championship. And maybe to Dame, maybe seeing after how happy Milwaukee was, how happy Giannis was, how much respect Giannis got for winning a championship for the team that drafted him. I wouldn't be surprised if Dame was motivated by that to say, I want this. I want this for Portland. I'm going to deliver this for Portland, and this is why I want to stay. To a certain degree. I don't know how much, but I wouldn't be surprised if it played a little bit of a factor. Maybe it's 1%, maybe it's 20%, who knows? But I feel like that played a factor into it. And we can say all we want about how Dame isn't Giannis. To Dame, maybe that's how he feels. And that's perfectly reasonable. That's perfectly reasonable. I don't think that's something that really should be judged. Now, don't get me wrong. I get everyone's reasoning. I get why people want Dame out of Portland. I want Dame out of Portland. If I was in Dame's situation, I would want out of Portland. Because I'm a person that, you know, might care more about legacies than a person like Dame. But the reality is people just have different priorities. They just have different priorities. They might not care about these legacy talks that we're talking about. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. And the more you look into it, I really don't blame them. I really don't blame them. But with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Watch this video right here. I don't know what it is. Just watch it. Just watch it, man. Have a good time. But with that being said, I'm out. Peace.